What's the most extreme thing your religion made you do? When I was a kid, we had to undergo monthly purification ceremonies, where we'd endure increasingly severe physical pain to prove our worthiness to enter heaven when we died. My father Samuel was the one who created this twisted doctrine after he claimed God spoke to him during a near-death experience in 1995. He had been electrocuted while working on power lines and spent 4 minutes clinically dead, and when he woke up, he was convinced that suffering was the only path to divine salvation. Samuel had always been deeply religious, but his brush with death transformed him into a man obsessed with the idea that comfort was evil, and that every moment without pain was a moment spent disappointing God. He started gathering followers in our small Montana town, preaching that modern Christianity had gone soft, and that true believers needed to embrace agony as a form of worship. He would spend hours quoting obscure Bible verses about mortifying the flesh and bearing crosses, and he had developed an elaborate theology around the idea that each scar on our bodies was a prayer written in blood. My mother had been raised Catholic and initially resisted his teachings, but after years of manipulation and isolation from her family, she became his most devoted follower and helped him design increasingly brutal ceremonies for us kids. When I turned 8, my father gathered our family and 20 congregation members in our basement for my first purification ceremony. He explained that I would receive one small cut on my arm for each year I had been alive, and that every month until I turned 18, I would receive additional cuts to represent my growing spiritual maturity. He said that when I reached adulthood, I would graduate to burns, then broken bones, and finally the ultimate test of faith where I would prove my devotion by allowing him to crucify me for exactly 1 hour on my 21st birthday. For the rest of my childhood, I could never forget that agony was not only inevitable but supposedly sacred. The monthly ceremonies became the central focus of our entire household, and my siblings and I would spend weeks beforehand in prayer and fasting to prepare our souls for the blessed pain we were about to receive. My father would use kitchen knives, lit cigarettes, and eventually branding irons as we got older, and our congregation would chant and praise God while we screamed and bled on the concrete floor. The breaking point came when my father held a ceremony for my 6-year-old sister and told the congregation, the younger they learn to love suffering, the purer their souls become when they meet their maker. But I couldn't watch my little sister endure what I had been forced to survive for 5 years of my childhood. During her ceremony, I grabbed the knife from my father's hands and told him that if God wanted us to suffer, then he could come down from heaven and do it himself, instead of hiding behind a coward who tortured children. I had never spoken against my father in front of the congregation, and the entire room fell silent as I helped her off the altar and walked toward the basement stairs with her hand in mine. I got us on a bus that same day and told her I was taking her somewhere where no one would ever hurt her again. I didn't have a plan. I just knew I needed to get us out. But our father refused to accept that his own son had committed blasphemy in front of his followers and threatened the foundation of everything he had built. He convinced our local sheriff that I had been possessed by demons and needed immediate intervention from religious authorities, and they dragged me and my sister back. Then he organized prayer vigils where the entire congregation would surround our house and chant for my soul while I was locked in my bedroom. He contacted every reform school and troubled teen facility within 500 miles, claiming that I was violent and dangerous and needed intensive spiritual rehabilitation. He told anyone who would listen that Satan was using me to destroy our family's faith, and he even hired a traveling exorcist who spent 3 days trying to cast demons out of me while my parents held me down. But here's the thing, that traveling exorcist was just a con artist who traveled around profiting off religion's zealots. He didn't believe in demons or holy water, just cold hard cash. So when he saw the state of the injured children in our parents' house, he was completely disturbed and called the state authorities himself. He told the social workers that what my father was doing to us wasn't spiritual at all, but simply child abuse disguised as religion. The investigation revealed that my father had been documenting our ceremonies on video to sell to other extremist groups, and suddenly his sacred mission was exposed as a profitable business built on torturing children. He got prison time, and my siblings and I got our freedom. We were removed from the home and placed with my maternal grandmother in California. I know I should feel grateful that I got out, but mostly I just feel robbed of the childhood I never got to have. I've lost my ability to trust anyone who claims to love me, even my siblings who did nothing wrong. Being saved from that house was the greatest gift I ever received, but some kinds of damage carve themselves so deep into your soul that healing feels like trying to pray away your own skeleton.